Hi y'all. Today I'm going to be working on these window boxes. You can see they still actually look pretty good. And so I've been reluctant to redo them, to transition them from summer to fall slash winter because they still look really good. But we're 2 days away from November, and I know any day, well, within the next couple of weeks, we probably are going to start getting some much cooler weather. And so I think it's time to go ahead and pop all these out and put in, what's going to stay here till next spring. And I like planting mine in the fall. When I do it in the fall, I want it to be something that's going to last me all through the whole winter and still look, decent, look good. And so most of the things that you're seeing is going to come out of these window boxes. But I'm thinking that I'm going to probably, as I pop it out, I'm going to put them in pots. And I'm probably just going to set them in my greenhouse and then take propagations off of them. So y'all be seeing videos of that. How to propagate begonias and overwinter them. And maybe how to propagate the double impatient, because the regular impatiens, I'm not going to keep those. I've already collected seed off of them. And so I don't, I'm ready to get those out. The ferns that you're seeing, those are autumn ferns, and they will stay in here all through the winter. They're an evergreen in my zone. And so they're going to be really pretty all winter, in the boxes mixed with the other things that I put in here. But you can see these right here look, they still look pretty good. And this one over here is looking a little more rough. I mean, it doesn't look as good. You can see, like, right in the middle, the begonia has started dying down, but all of these would probably be still beautiful and green if I had continued to fertilize them. But I quit fertilizing them weeks ago because normally, we have around October the 15th is when we have our first frost that really takes care of, the impatiens and that kind of thing. And even though we have had a couple of days a few weeks ago where we did have some patchy frost, it didn't affect any of this stuff at all. So it's looking, like I said, looking a little rough. Some of them are starting to now because they're not getting fertilized. I've not been watering them the way they should be watered. But the ferns will also stay in these boxes right here too. This is the double impatient that I'm going to overwinter. I've done it, I don't know, a few times before over the years. And so this one's really easy to take cuttings off of and just overwinter. So I'm gonna get started pulling these out, and I'll take y'all along and we'll see how they turn out. These are some of the things that I'm gonna be putting in the boxes. I'm gonna use some of the clearance ornamental cabbage that I bought, and I'm gonna use these compact hollies. All of this stuff is going to be evergreen, so these are going to, keep the window boxes looking, I think, pretty during the winter time. I'm kind of up in the air, though, about if I want to add anything else. We'll see as I go along. I do have some red mustard that has, had come up from seed from where I grew it in the spring. And I'm thinking I might pop some of those in here. I just have to dig them up. And I've also got some heuchera or coral bells that that just was not doing good in the ground for me here. So I ended up pulling those up in the early spring and just putting them in pots. And I've got quite a few and, just packed into like 3 pots. So I may end up popping a few of those out and popping them in the window boxes too. We'll just see once I get started how much room I've got and how it looks as I'm going along with it. And then I'll decide about the heuchera, because they will stay semi-evergreen for me here too. So, and they would be add a little bit of different colors. But like I said, we'll just see. I'm going to get this started and let's start popping out some plants. And I have some Silver Falls dichondra here that I'm also going to pop out and put in pots for the winter. And I have already done a video on propagating it. But I'm going to go ahead and try to save this too, because next year I really want to make good use of it. I really loved having it in the landscape. I'm seeing it has kind of ran everywhere in here. Okay, y'all, this is sort of what I'm thinking. I ended up going on ahead and adding some of the coral bells or the heuchera, and it still needed something else. So I have several different places where I have the evergreen Everillo grass, and I thought, well, I'll dig one of those up and divide it and kind of spread it out amongst, both sets of window boxes. And I think this is going to look really good. I'll show y'all the other one real quick. And this is sort of how I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to get these planted up, and then I'll see if it needs anything else. And as I do this, I'm probably going to take some of the dirt off the bottom, because this stuff is not going to really be actively growing during the winter time. it's really just going to be in here for the evergreen interest. And probably in the spring I'll end up putting something else in here, and the hollies at least will be going in the landscape. So there's going to be no waste to using these for the winter time. I actually have a project that I'm already thinking I'm going to probably use the hollies on in the spring. So let me finish getting these planted up and then I'll bring y'all back. I also wanted to say, because this is going to be fall and winter pots, there's no need in pulling all of your dirt out and replacing it with new dirt, not now. So I'm just top dressing some of this with a little bit of fresh dirt, and it'll be fine during the whole winter season. But okay, they're all finished. You can see I went ahead and put in some pumpkins and stuff for fall, which actually this will go all the way through Thanksgiving for me. But I think this is gonna look. I think it looks pretty good. You can see I ended up using the lime green Everillo carex grass, and of course I left in the ferns, the autumn ferns, and the clearance ornamental cabbage, the heuchera or coral bells that I had in pots that I had dug up out of the yard in the early spring because they just were not doing good. They do better in pots here in the deep south, in my opinion, in pots than they do in the ground. And of course the compact holly, Japanese holly. And all of this stuff is going to stay evergreen for me all the way through the fall and winter. And actually in the spring, the only thing that I would have to pull out if I just wanted to, I would have to pull out the ornamental cabbage because it would bolt if it's still, if it's still completely alive in the springtime. But everything else actually could just stay in the window boxes, and I could add some flowers and stuff in there if I wanted to, but of course I probably won't do that. I like changing it up. And I already have plans, I think, for the holly. So, and I think the ferns will probably at that point be too big to leave in the window boxes. I'll just pull them out most likely and plant them in the ground. And I don't know if you've watched any of my other videos, you might have heard me say in maybe one of the garden tours that the ferns, I actually only bought 2 in the spring, and I divided them in half and put 2 in this window box and 2 in the other window box. And so they've actually grown this much in the spring and summer. So they definitely all need to be pulled out and popped in the landscape because they get pretty big. But anyways, I'll show y'all the next box. And this is the other one. I just pretty much repeated the same thing and on both sides. The difference is the one on the window box on the left, it's one long window box. And then right here, it's actually 2 separate window boxes So, although it has the same plants in it, I had to arrange it a little different. Which, that's kind of fun sometimes to be able to, change them up a little bit. But I think I'm really going to enjoy these during the winter time. It's going to be good to have, things that are going to stay green and not just have bare window boxes. Now, if you live in a zone where, you can grow pansies and violas that'll bloom during the wintertime for you, I think that would look really good in the window boxes. And they do here for me, but these window boxes are in pretty much shade all day. You can see with this one right here, in the late afternoon, it gets maybe 30 minutes, if that, of a little bit of afternoon sun just on that one corner where that fern is. And on the other window box, on the very left side, on the near the end on the fern on that end, it only gets, I don't know, it probably gets a couple hours of morning sun, but that's the only part of that window box that gets any sun. So they're pretty much total shade all day. And so violas and pansies, I've tried planting them in there before, and they don't do good. I mean, they don't bloom or anything. You just have green little plants all winter long. So I had to choose things that's why I tried to use different colors of green. If y'all notice, I've got dark green, light green. I mean, there's just different shades of green. And then the heuchera has actually a little bit of like burgundy in its leaves. And so that gives it just a little bit more color. And so, but anyways, there's so many different ways that you can do up window boxes. And of course, as we transition from Thanksgiving to Christmas, they'll look totally different and I'll show y'all that when I redecorate them, because I really like to go all out for Christmas. I kind of go crazy with it, and so I'll show y'all when we transition and I'm able to redecorate. But anyways, I hope this video inspires some people to get out and do some things in their yard, even if it's just something really small. Until next time, bye.